Hello all, Sunday Q&A time again, which will be split into two because it's like it's 3:30 on Saturday. I didn't get back till 6. I was out with the boys last night, see my friends who I haven't seen for ages, and you get up a bit later and it pushes you on. But it's bank holiday anyway this weekend, so I'll do one for Sunday, one for Monday. Away we go. So I hope you're all well. What we got this week? Firstly, big thanks to Nick at London Creative, who's got his own channel out there, London Creative. He does have things about, video editing and stuff like that, who did me a video on how to do thumbnails. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. It's more to do with how I get from when I do the link at the end to the website, but I mean they do it all fancy now, don't they? So when you get start screen and there's writing and stuff like that, I don't think it's rocket science, to be honest with you. But I will have a go, and thanks very much, mate, for doing it for me. Truly appreciated. And that's London Creative. If you're into that kind of stuff, doing your own YouTubey stuff, please check out his channel, and everyone loves a subscriber. So, what do we do? Do one for circuit. Domain name guy says, lunch breaks and tea breaks can be fun. For example, in the days where Debenhams used to close their goods in at 11 a.m. Why do people do that? That's very frustrating. I know we start early, but 11 a.m. is a big, when you've got a few drops, it's a big time to finish. And House of Fraser used to close their goods in at 12 noon, which meant they got a 12 a.m. delivery for free, unless they didn't have much, in which case I was more than happy to put a sorry I missed your card through. It's true, because some people pay more for morning delivery. So if you want a morning delivery and you turn around and go, well, our goods in shuts at 12, then you're going to get a morning delivery. But whether you're going to get it the next morning or the morning after, it's like, well, my driver turned up at 2 and you were shut, so you're getting it the following morning. Well, it's down to them, isn't it, really? So, but yeah, that's one of the good things I say about that circuit app thing. You can actually specify if places are shut or if places need to be dropped at a certain time. I think that kind of gives it the edge over other stuff. But also, I did one on 4 things to do if you don't want... if you don't want to come unstuck on the exchange. A couple of people did come up with a few other interesting things that I might have missed. TG Weege says, hey Pete, great video but slightly wrong. He said they can still get you. He said, I've got a complaint against me because the shipper put the wrong details on the CX, and he said, he said on the details, deliver ASAP, when it was actually meant to be delivered 3 days later. And this was a heavy pallet, which meant that his van would have been bottled up for the next 3 days. He said they refused to pay me until he completed the job. He said, so the next day he turned up and give the goods back after they paid me. They logged a complaint and won because I didn't deliver when the shipper actually wanted, and apparently committed a crime returning home. Luckily, it hasn't affected me. It was one job and it was 40 quid. I would argue you were right there. If the job said delivered ASAP, and then they turn around and go, no, we don't want it delivered ASAP, we want it delivered 3 days later, you go, well, I did what I was told, so why am I being penalised for it? But then in this world of if I was a Judge Judy, if I was sort of adjudicating on CX things, then it might be a different case. But not always the way it should go is the way that it does go. But I personally don't, it's a reasonable point. But I had one this week. I was kind of lucky, and it was weird. It was picking up in. It was Thursday afternoon, and that was when I got the job to the scrapyard, and I couldn't get anything. I'd gone south, but the problem is now they've got that LEZ. That whole part of London may as well be underwater because I can't drive into it, or I can, but it cost me 100 quid to drive past the camera because I'm Euro 5. And if I drive in, no one's going to want to pay me the extra 100 quid for the job because, as far as they're concerned, the job's a job. It's fair enough, and I rang the guy, but it was coming out of Sheerness, and it needed to be delivered to Derby on the 1st, which meant I couldn't run all day Friday. But the job pays so much, 650 quid. And I thought they're practically paying it to have a day off. I can drive to Sheerness, pick it up, drive back to base, have Friday off, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because of the bank holiday, get to Derby at 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning. That's kind of my first job on a Tuesday and my last job on a Thursday. It didn't quite work out, but I thought, I'm doing no diesel, it's kind of worth it. And I said to the guy, I was just about to hang up, and I went, right, okay. He said, we'll send it through to you now. I said, lovely, right, give us a postcode and I'll head off. And he went, no, it's not today, it's tomorrow. He said, have I posted it for today? And then I suddenly think, have I done it wrong? But I looked, no, I hadn't. It was saying, pick up today, deliver first. And then the job disappeared. But if I'd driven all the way at Sheerness, if he hadn't picked that one up and I'd have got there, I would have turned around to him and went, no, I've got the booking in front of me. It says pick up today. I want cancellation fee. And I would have fought it. Whether I would have won or not, I think you were very unlucky there, TG Widge. I actually think you're in the right, and if they upheld their complaint, I don't know why they did. But they did that to us once. A guy sent a job through without ringing us to see if we could do it. This was way back when we was in the vans. To see if we could do it, and we went, sorry, but we've accepted another job now. He said, no, you bid it, I've sent it through, and they upheld him. That's a bit of a convoluted way about it, but all I'm saying is sometimes what is right isn't actually the way it goes. But no, I think he was unlucky there. So, and another one from TG. Oh, hang on, I've printed the same one off twice. There was another one, but for some reason I printed the same one off twice. So if I missed you, I apologise. Right, things I would change about the CX. Now, I said I'd do a video on this, and I've been thinking about it. Now, you've got to bear in mind there are things that I would change about. I'm thinking more on the lines about things that I would change about the CX app. I find it's too multi-layered sometimes. I find that sometimes that if you want to go from search loads to allocate you, particularly with small fleet, I have to go for about five or 10 different layers of going back, search loads, load location, typing it all in. I'd also be quite nice if you were if you could sort of save a parameter so that rather than every time I go to search for a load, I have to go 7.5 ton to 7.5 ton, 30 mile radius. So you could just go bing. If you could save a parameter, that was something I'd like about it. I mean, as for like paying, when shippers pay, that's kind of out of their hands. But a few of you guys have done some stuff. So, saying things that you would change about the CX. We're into it. Says things I would change. 3 things. He said I would stop shippers posting loads without weights and descriptions. Again, that's sometimes out of the shippers' hands because sometimes they don't get the weights and descriptions from their customers. They have to be a bit vague, but it's a reasonable point. I would introduce what three words as an option to postcodes. What 3 words is fantastic, but I don't know if you have to pay as how easy it is to integrate someone else's app in your app, or they might want to charge you. I was going to ring the CX about it. I'll be honest, I didn't get around to it. I couldn't be bothered. But it would be brilliant to have what 3 words in. It's not always guarantees that you're going to actually make it there straight away, because just because you can see where the square is doesn't mean you can work out how to drive to the square. As I had the grief trying to find the scrapyard MI5 courier firm, but it would still be. I would really appreciate that one. Number 3, choose your own alert notification sound on the app from a sound on your phone. That would be quite nice, wouldn't it? Really, I'd turn notifications off. Otherwise, the thing just goes bing, 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 bing. Sounds like someone's getting married. Someone's ringing the bells, But no, that's a reasonable one. And number 4, introduce a loyalty system for subscription renewals. Can't see the CX changing anything though, as they start losing subscribers to a rival. If they start losing subscribers to a rival platform, but they've got a monopoly. You're right. So they charge what they like. Yeah. And then he says, take care, take money, and give lots of it to CX and BCD. Yeah, there's always an on-cost. In business, there's always an on-cost. What can you do? But yeah, you're right. It's a bit like it's Amazon, really, isn't it? It's a natural monopoly, and the fact that they're that big that I don't know. Somebody could come along and do a rival system, I think. Whether they will or not, I don't know. In the meantime, I still say best one out there, and that's why I use it. But and you guys will agree or disagree with me. So, other things we change about the CX. Addy the Real Slim Shady says, what I would change the CX is stop shippers being able to advertise a hot shot and a backload on the same job. It's either one or the other. I think sometimes that comes down to the shipper really not know what they're doing when they're posting. But Van on the Run goes on. He says, on the whole, the CX works well. He says, the one thing I wish they would change is what is a hot shot? He says, I don't mean what people's interpretation of it is on the CX, because some people think, yeah, I understand that. They say it's a backload, which needs to be picked up within the next half an hour and delivered straight away. That's not a backload, mate. That's a hot shot. He said, but what is a hot shot? He said, I've never seen this term in use anywhere else. It was most likely dreamt up by someone with no experience in the industry when setting up on the CX, and the name is stuck. He said a hot shot should be renamed direct or dedicated to denote that they're dedicated loads from a direct delivery. which means, you know, they're not backload or co-load or anything, or non-urgent, or, you know, where time frames don't match, you know. He said, if someone has their own customers for an outbound journey, all loads are a backload to him or her. What decides the rate is how urgent the job is, or whether the customer wants a dedicated vehicle. And I think that's a very reasonable point. I mean, that Alice lady, she ran with me about a year or two ago, and she did say that was something they were looking at, you know, the idea of backloads. Something else I would contemplate, and I said about the idea of the CX, is it would be interesting if they could have like a sister platform where there were things. If you want to get rid of hot shots, and you could have one just for dedicated deliveries, and one like there's a firm out there called 3 to 5 days, and it's like it needs to get there. But it needs to get there in the next week. And they pay less as a result, but that's fine because you could co-load it. And then people couldn't come on and turn around and go, it's a backload, I need it picked up now and taken there now. And you go, no, it's not. And you would have different rates. Maybe. Again, I don't know. These are just ideas we're throwing out there. If they're watching CX, please take them on board. Jeremy Hawk says, this was something else I went on to. This wasn't actually to do with this, but he said we did one about co-loading and all that kind of stuff, and a few people commented, but that might come out today, might come out tomorrow. And he says co-loading. He says, we have been in business for 30 years. We don't work for any other couriers, and we're not on any exchange sites. Co-loading same-day jobs is part of our business model, and most other established operators that I know do the same. It's £1 to £1.50 a mile. Does not pay the salesperson's salary. Without them, you don't get new business in. If you are playing the game of not co-loading in 2021, you're stifling your business and limiting your opportunities. That's a reasonable point, Jeremy. I think as far as the CX is concerned, it is kind of like van taxis, and they do want a dedicated vehicle with nothing else on board, and I personally believe the price should reflect that. So yeah, you're right. You could quote somebody in sort of like I don't know, in a Luton van, and you could be, or in a truck. You could potentially quote them £1 to £1.50 a mile, but they would have to take into account the fact that it's going to be we're going to pick it up when we want to pick it up, and we're going to get it there when we want to get it there. And I'm probably wrong about that because I'm wrong about most things, but I do take on board what you're saying. I think it's a very reasonable point, and also from an environmental point of view, it'd be much better if rather than just having to pick up a box and drive it from Newcastle to London, you could pick up 5 boxes and drive them from Newcastle to London and then drop them off in 5 different places, because that would be 4 different sets of emission, where you have 4 different vans not going 400, 500 miles, throwing out all that rubbish into the atmosphere. So I think it's a reasonable point. But MI5 couriers. I've had it this week. I had that on Thursday, and then on Friday the job came through, and the job came through for Friday, and it was picking up in Northampton and taking to Bristol. I was on the clock. I'm going to do one about that actually. I've beat the clock. My God. So I had to pick that. I kind of rung them and I went, yeah, I might need a bit more information. This is kind of a bit vague. So I'm good, but picking up in Northampton and driving to Bristol need a bit more. Sort of street name. Sort of postcode would be nice. Name of the company, that kind of stuff. And he went, yeah, we'll send it through, mate. Forgot to check it. Woke up on Friday morning. It still said Northampton. So, oh God, Northampton and Bristol. So I'm driving to Northampton. Managed to ring them up a bit early. But the nice lady did actually send me through the right details. Then I got to the customer, got it on board, had to drop it off in Bristol. I said, you got paperwork to go with this, mate? He said, no, it's been booked by the back, by the people that are collecting it. So they didn't know where it was going. I didn't know it was going. I'm driving to Bristol going, could you let me know where I'm going now, please? Because, it would be really handy, because I was on that clock all the time. And because everyone was going, every caravan in the world was going to Bristol this weekend. But I managed to get it off. And then on the way back, same again. Bristol to Slough. We're going to send it through on the email. I'm like, why don't you just tell me where I'm going, please? But anyway, it was there. So, MI5 couriers. John Gunn says, he said, fantastic people, love it, thanks John. He said, we get stops like that occasionally at DPD. He said, but they're 90, you get stops like that, they're 90, because they have 90, the DPD mob, he said they allow a 90-second to stop. He said, it doesn't take many of these to ruin your day. And he says, thanks for, he loves the video, thanks mate. Now I kind of get that, because if you've got to get it on, get it off, fantastic if you're on a house. You know, it's sort of, you're not in a house. If you're in you know, if it's like a residential. So, you know, if you've got to drop at 27 and you're driving down the road, 25, 23, 25, 27, bang, there you go. But when it says Rose Cottage, or when it goes 23, 25, 43, and if you've only got 90 seconds to get that stop off, it's really not enough time. And then you're going to start falling behind, and I imagine that would be a problem. But this is the problem with the multi-drop and the DPD and the Hermes and all that kind of stuff, and the Amazon. I don't envy you guys out there if you're doing it, you know, sort of all power to you, you know. Matt Hodges said, I'd be asking the scrapyard if I could have the air horns on the truck behind you. I should have put that conclusion. That's a good one. It's funny you should say that, actually. In the fact that I'm still looking for the 18 tonne. I'm staving and saving and saving. I found the perfect one, but it's in Armagh. And it's a long way to go. And I'm thinking, so at the moment, me and the puddle jumper, me and Alice are fine. And I'm just saving up, still keep looking, like, you know. But when I do get the truck, I will be wanting the BJ and the Bear. Apparently they're not legal anymore, but there's a little switch you can put in, apparently. I don't know. Just not checked it out or anything. But yeah, no, you're dead right with that one, mate. Yeah, if I get a big lorry, I want one that sounds like a train. Godzilla says, and he says, yeah. He said he's had one, wrong postcode, no access to the place. Then the security guy was being a bit of a nightmare. He said not letting me in. Then finding the place. Finding the place on site, finding the actual place on site once he's actually been let in, took half an hour. Then he's supposed to speak to the person who knows about the job he's trying to deliver is on a break. When he finally got to the right place, oh yeah, the guy's got received that, he's away. And then he sort of got asked to move my van 4 times within a one-way system with roadworks. The 4th time I simply said no. I said, oh, no, I've had enough. He said, welcome to JLR Solihull. I've never done JLR Solihull. If it brings up on a job, I shall probably go, oh no. So, mate, I feel your pain. Daniel Garumba, super duper transport manager guy, wrote on the comments. He said, you should have called me. He said, I know that job. It's from a pallet network company, something to do with blue. He said, I've done it quite a few times. It is quite a mission to get in. And that's something else I do, and I do it with the other drivers. In fact, because I can see on the small fleet their jobs coming through. And if a job comes in and I think, I've done that, and that was tricky, I will ring them and go, right, and knowledge is power. Absolutely, it will save you so much time. It's really lovely when you actually get shippers and go, by the way, when you get there, the postcode's going to take you to this place. Don't go to this place. When you go over the bridge, there's a little lane with a green gate. Go down there. That can save you like 20 minutes on your day of driving around, where is it? And I'll do the same with our drivers. If I've been to a place where I've done it before, and I'll go, Harry, Gordon, what you need to do is, and then when you get there, I will ring, or don't press that buzzer, press that one, and, you know, don't go that way, it's a farm, you know, does make a difference, you know. And for Chris Lovett says, wow, something you don't know. Chris, there's plenty I don't know. That's absolutely loads I don't know. I'm still learning this game. So, right, so I'm going to cut it now because of the upload thing and all that kind of stuff. I shall do miscellaneous tomorrow. Enjoy the sunshine. Bank holiday. We're in the garden. Lovely. Cook the barbecue. Take care. Don't take any money.